Fucking hell. 29. So I lost 3 inches basically. Already? This is working. Yeah. Okay, honestly, what we've been taught about losing fat, I think is basically a scam. The fitness industry is telling us you have to do lots of cardio and a very complicated fitness routine. Eat this paleo diet, but don't eat this, but don't eat that, but count all the different calories that you have in your meal, and then you have to subtract and blah, 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 blah. How can a normal person even make sense of it and follow something like that? With a 9 to 5, with maybe a kid, a husband, maybe a family to take care of. That's literally impossible. Being honest, I realized that because I arrived to a point now that I have a bit of extra belly fat and I feel self-conscious when I put myself in a bikini, and now it's summer. I don't want to feel like that anymore, and I would love to lose a tiny bit of that belly fat. And to do that, I follow a very simple advice that I didn't even realize was there. That in 10 days made me lose my belly fat without overcomplicated routines. Also, I really don't want to keep this information from you until the end of the video. I'm gonna tell you right now what's the one rule, and then if you want you can skip and go to the next video. But I suggest you to stay because you will have an easier way to follow this rule if you just see how I've implemented throughout my day-to-day. So the rule is I made sure to eat enough protein for my body type to maintain my muscle mass and lose only fat. And for me, that amount is 100 grams of protein. The amount varies by person. I will add in the description below a calculator where you can calculate the protein target for your specific body. Even if these rules seem very easy to follow, there were a couple of tricks throughout my journey that really made it much easier for me to stick to my protein target. So I will show you a bit of a vlog of how this went and what were the tricks, so that you will be able to follow this if you want to and lose your belly fat really quickly. For me, it took me around 10 days. Actually, after day 3, I already saw results in my waist measurement, which was nuts. I really could not believe that just by adding protein to my diet I could lose fat. Apparently there are lots of studies about this, and I wonder why nobody puts it so simply. If they tell you just need to follow one rule, just make sure you eat that amount of protein per day, wouldn't you be like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll do it? Like, no brainer. So if you feel like you want to lose a bit of fat, maybe ahead of summer, you are a bit struggling, there is so much confusing advice out there, completely feel you. I'm one of those people that felt the same way. What you're gonna get from this video is a very easy, straightforward way to lose fat quite quickly without taking over your life. Okay, let me take you back to the very beginning. First day of summer, I was putting my bikini on and I didn't see myself at all. I felt very uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, I need to lose fat. And talking to my husband, he was like, I think you should do a bit more cardio. I was like, okay, that makes total sense. That's why I'm not that skinny. I need to do a bit more cardio. You see, these runners that are super skinny. So I just do a bit more cardio and I will lose the fat. But then I thought, wait. Nowadays we have AI, so let me ask Gemini. I was blown away by what Gemini said. It basically said that I was completely wrong, and I quote, "Muscle is made at the gym, but fat is lost in the kitchen." I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Keep going. It works like this. When you want to lose weight, you want your body to burn fat, not muscle. If you just eat less, your body panics and might actually hold fat and burn muscle. But if you eat a ton of protein, you basically are hacking the system. You give your body the exact fuel it needs to maintain the muscle, which forces it to only burn fat. So I figured out the amount of protein that I needed to eat myself is 100 grams. So that was my target for the next 10 days. And wait, before you tell me, but Martina, how do I know how many grams of protein I'm eating per day? I'm not carrying a scale in my purse. Totally get it. Me neither, by the way, or neither. I don't know how you say that. I found a very simple way to do that so that you don't never have to use a scale if you don't want to on your day-to-day to do this. I want to make sure that what I'm doing is working, so I will be tracking my hunger level, my energy, and especially my waist measurement to make sure that, oh sorry, you don't see it, that this is going away. But to make you understand how this went for me for the next 10 days, let me take you back to the very beginning. Good morning. First day of measuring my waist. We will do it in, let's do it in inches for once. Since I moved to the US, is 32 inches exactly. 32 inches. And we start first day. Well, second technically, but first we measure everything. Okay, day 3 of waist measurement. Ignore my hair because I just woke up. So let's see. Last time it was 32. Let's see today. Oh, whoa. Look at that. 29. Guys, what the fuck? This is crazy. 29 inches from 32. Let me just try one more time. So I can't believe it. Also, 29. So I lost 3 inches basically. Already. This is working. Yeah. I am less hungry throughout the day. The moment where I get quite hungry is right before going to sleep. Oh yeah, energy is amazing. You will see it because I'll put the graph and everything, but so far I feel very energetic, which was not happening before. Before this challenge, I used to eat maybe around 50 grams of protein per day, and now I basically doubled. The energy is amazing. I think it's probably because of the blood sugar that is kind of stabilized when you eat more protein, and so I rely less on carbs, which make your sugar spike and then make you crash like really deeply. I'm very full throughout the day. The only moments where I'm hungry is just before going to sleep, but very few, so it's not like I can't fall asleep or anything. I just feel like I could eat something else. Maybe I should. In the morning, yeah, like this morning I was super hungry, but then I eat a yogurt with my protein and feel fine. I've been struggling to arrive to 100 grams, especially if I don't eat one meal that is like a steak or chicken. Yeah, otherwise all other ingredients, they don't seem to have as many proteins. And also, I'm struggling a bit to have high protein breakfast. But I guess that's quite normal, because if you will have like a steak, which is 50 grams more or less in a meal, the other meal like 40 grams, 35, like let's say you have some salmon or something like that, and then for breakfast you have like 2 eggs, then that will cover like 100 grams. But I will do some vlogging of the recipes that I do so that you can see how I combine and how I try to arrive to 100 grams of protein. Especially for breakfast, if you don't get at least 10-15 grams of protein for breakfast, it's really hard to then arrive to 100 grams. And of course, maybe your goal will be different, maybe it's a bit less, a bit more, but I think it's really important to try and have proteins in every meal, because otherwise it's quite hard to arrive to your target. And that's it. Thank you for listening. Because I don't want to count every single protein that I eat, and I don't want to have a scale all the time, because I eat a lot maybe in a restaurant or in the office, I just have on my phone, I'm going to show you on my iPad, but it's on my phone, and in the Notes app, a list of the main foods that I eat that contain quite a lot of protein, like it could be prosciutto, it could be eggs, salmon and things like that, and the average protein content. So for 1 egg, how many grams of protein I will be eating, for 1 standard piece of salmon, how many grams I will be eating, and things like that. So when I go outside, for example, like at the office, I usually eat maybe a salad with chicken. I know that the standard portion of chicken will be around 40 grams of protein, so I know that for that meal, more or less, I've had 40 grams of protein. This list has been super useful for me to know more or less how many proteins I eat per day without stressing too much. I don't want to have a scale, I don't want to be super precise. I know that this is not a very precise way to do that, but that's not the point. The point is I need to eat enough protein. So I'll share the list with you in the description, but it's been really helpful for me, and I would suggest you, if there is some ingredients that you don't find, to just do a quick Google search. For example, if you're vegan and you eat a lot of tofu, maybe you want to know for a square of tofu how much protein that has, so that you can kind of calculate whenever you're eating tofu, as an example. So you can add it to your list, and then you are ready to go eat at the restaurant, in the office, and enjoy your life, knowing that more or less you know how many proteins you've been eating. Good morning! I am having a granola bowl with yogurt. I put 3 tablespoons, and I know that is around like 4 grams of protein, 3 tablespoons. Then I will have soya milk with coffee. This is around 9 grams, because the normal glass of soy milk will be around 9 grams of protein. One thing I found out, this is my nerdiness in looking at labels. My auntie actually is a label expert, so maybe that's where it comes from, I don't know. For 240 milligrams of milk, you have 9 grams of protein, while with normal milk you have and of course the fridge is making a noise now that I'm trying to show you something, 8 grams of protein. So actually there is 1 extra gram of protein in the soya milk versus the regular milk, which I would have never thought. I've always tried to prefer normal milk because I thought it will have more protein, even though I'm lactose intolerant, so I need to buy the dairy free. Sometimes it still makes me have like stomachache and stuff like that. But now that I know that actually soya is even more protein, I found this one in Trader Joe, which is amazing because it just literally has 3 ingredients: two. Water and soybean. I am drinking more this one than this one. Long story short, these two together as breakfast have around like 15 grams of protein, which is a good breakfast. It definitely helped me to split the protein throughout the day. Otherwise, I would have to eat like a steak for lunch and a steak for dinner kind of thing to arrive to 100 grams. So this really helps to then be a bit more chill on how many proteins I eat for at least one of the 2 meals. So if you're struggling with your energy level, I definitely suggest you to try and find out what's your protein target and try to achieve it for a few days so you can see if your energy also stabilizes. I think it's something that has been quite life-changing for me. Probably the biggest positive effect of following this one rule, even more than fat loss. I'm also less hungry throughout meals and I'm already losing fat, so that's really positive, and it's such an easy rule to follow, especially once you figure out some of the tips that I'm sharing in this video. Hopefully that will be very, very easy for you, even more straightforward than for me, and you're gonna lose fat in no time. This is one of my favorite recipes. It's from an Italian nutritionist that I love. Doesn't have so many protein, to be honest, but it's very nice, and because I had already 15 grams of protein for breakfast, I don't need to have as many for lunch, because you can have like done a big steak tonight or something else that will make up for the last part of the protein. So this salad is fennel, half of a pear, some cheese. In theory it should be feta cheese, but I use manchego. And some nuts. In theory it should be walnuts, but I'm using pine nuts because I like those. Fennels are super healthy. We use them a lot in Italy. Ignore my cutting style, by the way, because I'm like not a very good cook, but we use fennels a lot, and it's just like so fresh, especially in summer. And I think she adds also a tiny bit of mint, which I will add at the end, which is makes this salad super fresh. I think that mint is quite nice. Honestly, I can't get something ready for myself and not have a bite, especially if it's something I like. You will always see me eating while I prepare. Bit of pinoli, as we would say in Italian, a tiny bit more. I used them yesterday for pesto. I think we bought them from Costco. They are so expensive everywhere else. I think in Costco they are quite cheap. We're getting the rant on pinoli salad with cheese, fennel, pinoli, pine nuts, and pear. And this will be around like 15 grams of protein, maybe a bit more. So this will bring my total of the day to 30-40 grams. When I'm a bit in a rush and I want to have a nice healthy meal with enough protein, what I do is I buy this in Costco. This organic roasted turkey breast. It doesn't have any other ingredients. You can see that the only ingredient is turkey, organic, and salt. This one, usually one slide is around 3-4 grams of protein, so I really know how many proteins I get in a meal. It's super quick, you just chop it very easily and then you put it in whatever salad you have or meal. It's super easy. I have it for breakfast on toast or in a salad like I'm having now. Salad, yeah, and then this is gonna be my dessert. Hello, good morning. We are in Mexico City, and yesterday at the airport I had like a big chicken sandwich, so that helped me with my protein intake. And since I was out and about, I didn't really know how much protein there was in that chicken, but I know that a standard chicken portion is around like 40 grams, 45 based on my notes list, so it was quite easy for me to estimate that I ate around like 50-55 because it was quite a big portion. So that was very easy, took me less than 2 minutes to calculate, and it made me feel very full until dinner, which was really late at 11. So for now, so far so good. Good morning, I am here in Mexico. This is the last day. Some days I struggle to arrive to 100 grams of protein a day, and some other days is the opposite, I go over. But in general, it's been going really well. Let's measure the waist now. Look at this. 28.7. I think I started at 33 inches. Getting there. This is really working. Sorry for the bad camera quality, I don't know what's happening. Last day of the challenge, and this is how I look. What do you think? So it's past the 10 days that I've eaten more protein, and now I'm gonna check my results. I will save the best for last, which is the waist measurement and the progress picture. Looking at the energy level, it seems like my energy went up and down. Sometimes I had some peak of energy, sometimes it was a bit lower, but in general, my energy, and you can't really see as much from this graph, stayed at a 7 out of 10, which is a very, very high energy for me. Before this challenge, I used to have like energy around like 3 out of 10. I felt lots of days very sluggish. I was hanging on my sofa in the afternoon and just taking lots of naps. And I didn't really have a lot of energy to exercise. So this is already a big change for me. Having peaks of like 8 or 9 out of 10 is amazing. And having a steady baseline of 7 out of 10 is really, really good. Hunger-wise, it was a steep decline. So from the very beginning of the challenge, when I was very hungry, till less and less hungry, really positive as well. I think that's no surprise to anyone, because everyone is literally saying if you eat more proteins, you then are less hungry. So no surprises here. But the one that I was carrying the most is waist. And my waist, interestingly enough, dropped a lot after the first couple of days of eating more protein. I don't know if maybe I was losing a lot of liquids as well, and that was more than fat. But overall, I saw a decline in my waist around 3-4 inches, from 33 inches till 28. So, well, actually 5 inches now that I think about it. So I think that's very good. I would say probably the reason why I lost fat or like belly fat is mainly because I was less hungry and I was also more energetic. So the fact that I was less hungry made me eat less of the rest of the things like carbs and sugars, and the fact that I had more energy made me want to exercise more, which was really positive. I will caveat here also the fact that I was on holidays when last part of this challenge happened, so I was walking around 10,000 steps a day. I wasn't doing any exercise apart from that, which is something that I usually do when I'm back home. I usually do strength training or some cardio as well. So I would say I kept my exercise level similar, but I just walked in the last part of the challenge versus having cardio and strength dedicated sessions. Would I recommend to implement this habit into your day-to-day? I would say yes, especially if you want to lose fat very fast without crazy restrictions. It's been easier than I thought to actually put this habit in practice, and I got results in 10 days. But mainly what I thought it was very good is that it took me out of the rut I was in. I was a bit stuck. I was struggling to lose fat and I was overeating things that I shouldn't, like a lot of desserts. So this habit of adding something rather than removing from my diet really helped me, especially psychologically, to make this so easy and straightforward. And I can tell you that once you're not hungry anymore because you've eaten enough protein, you literally can't eat a dessert no matter how much you want it. So I think it's really, really helpful if you are in a similar situation than I was before. I don't think this habit alone will make you a healthy person, but this is a very lazy start. If you don't know what to do and you lack a bit of the willpower, that's what was happening to me. I really didn't have any motivation and I didn't want to remove anything from my diet because it was giving me kind of pleasure what I was eating. So instead of having the mindset of restriction, I had the mindset of adding, and that made it kind of fun even. I think that being healthy is a process. You don't just become healthy from one day to the other. You build your health habits slowly, and that's what I'm doing in this channel. I'm testing different health habits that are very simple to implement for someone that has a normal life like me, who's not an influencer, who's not a fitness coach, that has so much time to think about the perfect meal to prepare every single day. And so one habit at a time, I'm gonna discover what works and what doesn't. I will report back to you so you know if something is trash and you should skip it, or if you should implement it and why. I share tips on how to easily implement those habits that really make a difference. So you don't have to waste time trying things that don't work. You only focus on what works, what will make you healthy while still enjoying your life. My inspiration for being healthier is my grandma. She is almost 90. She's my Italian grandma and has built a health routine that really works for her. It's very easy for her to maintain. She used to be quite unhealthy before, and now she's this very healthy person. I saw that through the years she built this health routine that really works for her life, and now it's part of her. She doesn't even try to be healthy, she just is. And that's what I want to build for me me and you guys. You can think of it like a factory for your health. You get in that you're overwhelmed, and then you come out with your health habits in autopilot. So you will not even have to think about them because you will already be healthy. Next up, I want to test cutting my sugar intake. I have a big sweet tooth, and so I struggle a lot to not over binge on sugar. But I want to see if cutting off sugar really make a difference as much as this protein challenge. So stay tuned. I've done this challenge in the past. You can check it right here. I will track all of the results from waist to energy to hunger and even skin, because I feel like my skin changes with sugar, and I have a lot of tricks that I've learned along the way, so I will share all of them with you because cutting out sugar can be tricky. But if you have a couple of tips that I've learned along the way, you're gonna find it like 10 times easier. Popping in here to say that my lovely husband has built an amazing app for me to track all of the progress of this challenge and any kind of metrics I want. So if you also want to use that and track energy level, protein intake, hunger, waist measurement, anything you want, literally, just let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure to push him to release it so that you can use it too for free and be able to track all your progress so you know exactly where you started and where you end. Let's all go thank him now. Thank you.
I'm naked.
At the next one. Ciao.